For more of this kind of content you can subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave a comment. Adam opened the door. To his suite and froze. There was a woman standing in the center of the room, tall, green-skinned, blunt-cut black hair, and a body that looked sculpted to make a man forget protocol. Adam didn't move. Who are you? She bowed. Clara, I've been assigned as your personal maid, sir, for everything you require. Her voice was smooth and low. Assigned by who? The High Council. She straightened. They said you'd appreciate comfort and discretion. Adam glanced around the suite. Silk-lined furniture, soft lights, 2 rooms connected by a glass-paneled doorway. Too nice for a simple diplomat. You always wait in a man's bedroom without asking, he said. Claw's lips curved just slightly. Only when I know he'll be worth the wait. She turned, walked toward his travel case by the wall, and bent to pick it up. Her uniform shifted around her hips as she did. He watched her work the zipper, watched her fingers brush the edge of his folded clothes. You're human, she said, but you don't smell soft. Adam raised an eyebrow. Is that a compliment? Where you're from? She didn't answer, just turned and closed the distance between them, stopping inches from his chest. Her gaze locked on his. Do you want me to bathe you now or after dinner? Adam's mouth twitched into a smirk. You skipped a few steps. I'm efficient and I'm not interested. She tilted her head. That's a lie. He didn't deny it. They stared at each other. Finally Adam stepped around her, slow and casual. I'll let you know if I need anything. Claw, you will, she said without hesitation. He paused at the bedroom doorway, looking back. Do all Azerian maids come with this much attitude? She smiled. Only the ones trained for high value humans. Adam's chest tightened. This wasn't hospitality, this was pressure dressed as pleasure. The council was playing games and they'd sent a weapon in a maid's uniform. Claude picked up his folded shirt and smoothed it across the bed. I'll unpack your things unless you'd prefer I undress you first. Adam walked away before he answered. Hours later, because if he stayed in that room another minute he might have said yes. Adam didn't sleep. He lay on the smooth mattress of his Aryan suite, eyes on the ceiling, mind anywhere but calm. The lighting had dimmed automatically to night mode. He could hear her moving in the other room. Unpacking, he rolled onto his side and stared at the doorway. There was no door, just a sheer curtain drawn halfway shut, useless at blocking noise, light or temptation. This was a trap, but if the Azerian High Council had wanted to rattle him, test him, compromise him, they'd picked the right tool. Claire wasn't a maid, she was bait, and part of him wanted to take it. The curtain shifted. Adam sat up instantly. Claire stepped through a small glass in her hand filled with something that glowed faintly blue. I found the local liquor in your cabinet, she said. Didn't think you'd mind. She took a sip, swallowed, then held it out to him. Her lips glistened from the drink. Adam didn't move. Do you always drink on the job? It's Azerian custom to share the first drink with the guest, and you didn't invite me, so I'm correcting your mistake. He didn't reach for the glass. That's not liquor you're trying to get in my head. She walked closer, unfazed. I'm already in your head, you just haven't admitted it yet. Adam stood, not to confront her, but to take space to show her he wasn't cornered. She followed. He took the glass from her hand, stared into the faint glow, then set it on the nightstand without tasting it. Why are you really here? He asked. I told you. No, he said, stepping closer. Now you told me what they want me to think. That's not the same. Her voice dropped. Maybe I'm here because I was curious about the human they call the mouth of earth, the one who doesn't back down, doesn't flinch, doesn't let anyone tell him no. Adam raised an eyebrow. And does that kind of man usually need a maid? She took another step. Now they were close, too close. No, Clara said, but he needs someone to test him to see if he's really that strong. Adam's heart beat harder, but he didn't step back. You think you're going to break me? She smiled. No, I think I'm going to enjoy trying. Silence hung thick between them. He should have told her to leave. Instead he asked, what's your position in the council? Low level, she said smoothly. Servants don't hold titles. You fight like someone who's seen real combat. Maybe I have. She reached out, suddenly bold, and touched the hem of his shirt. Her fingers grazed fabric, then lingered against his stomach. He tensed. You're built like a soldier, she murmured, not a politician. I used to be both, he said, but now I'm here to talk Claw leaned in then say. Something that makes me stop thinking about your body. Adam gripped her wrist. I'm not going to sleep with you, he said. Flatly. Who said anything about sleeping? She said. The corner of his mouth twitched. This doesn't scare you. Why would it? She said. You're human. I've studied your physiology. We are entirely compatible. Adam let go of her wrist. She didn't move. He took a slow breath, steadying himself back off. Claw finally stepped away. She turned her back and walked to the far wall, picking up a folded cloth from the unpacked items. Your clothes have been cleaned and arranged by style and material, she said, her tone cool again, professional. Your bathroom is stocked with Earth standard hygiene products. I calibrated the bed to your preferred body temperature. He didn't say anything, just sat on the edge of the bed. Claw moved toward the bathroom doorway, then paused. Without turning, she asked, do you want assistance preparing for sleep? No, she nodded. Understood. She stepped inside. And the door sealed behind her with a whisper. Adam sat in silence. He hadn't touched the drink, but somehow she still had him buzzed. There was the sound of running water coming from the bathroom. Adam heard it through the bathroom wall. Steady and constant like a quiet threat, he stood near the window, arms crossed, staring out at the neon veins of the city below. Azerion was beautiful, sure, but it pulsed like a machine that ran too quietly to be safe. He wasn't here to fall for anyone, he was here to keep the peace. Earth's first real diplomatic exchange with a non-human civilization. The water finally stopped, then the bathroom door whispered open and Claw stepped out. She wore nothing but a long black robe, thin, sleeveless and slightly open at the front. Her skin glistened, wet hair clung to her neck. Adam didn't say a word. Claw walked across the suite like she didn't notice the way he looked at her, or maybe she did, and it was exactly the point. She moved with that same feline grace. She stopped at the table, picked up a small data pad, tapped a few things. I updated your schedule, she said. The morning session with the council is pushed an hour later. They said they wanted you well rested. She tilted her head slightly. Is something wrong? You're not just a maid. Claw smiled faintly. I didn't say I was. You said you were assigned to me. I was. By who? Her smile didn't falter. Does it matter? It does if someone's using you to get in my head. She turned fully now, facing him across the room. If I wanted to get in your head, she said, I'd already be there. He stepped closer. You're already in my room. That's close enough. CL took one step forward. Two. I can leave, she said. He didn't answer. I can step out, sleep in the adjoining quarters, like a proper servant. Pretend this tension doesn't exist. Adam clenched his jaw. That's not what I asked. Then say what you want, she said, because I'm tired of pretending. You don't look at me like I'm something you're trying not to taste. Adam exhaled through his nose. Earth doesn't allow diplomatic representatives to engage in entanglements during active negotiations. Good, she said softly. Then it'll have to be our secret. She reached out and ran her fingers down the front of his shirt. Adam grabbed her wrist again, but not to stop her. He just held it. Her eyes flicked to his. Claude leaned in, voice barely above a whisper. You want to ask me what I am? You want to know if I'm a spy, if I've been trained to seduce humans, if this is part of the game? Is it? Adam asked. No, she whispered, but I wouldn't stop even if it was. Then Claire stepped back, just far enough to breathe again. Good night, Adam, she said quietly. He watched her retreat into the other room, watched the robe sway as she disappeared behind the curtain. He stood in the dark for a long time after that, unmoving. Meanwhile, on the far side of the palace, deep inside a private surveillance chamber, 3 Azerion guards stood in front of a glowing screen. The human is growing too close to her, one of them said. The commander, a tall male with a long scar down his jaw, nodded slowly. We warned them this might happen. He's not resisting her. Another added, she's pushing boundaries and he's allowing it. The commander turned toward the shadows behind them. Inform the tribunal. If they become intimate, the human will become compromised. He cannot be allowed to see her as his equal, and her. The first guard asked. Then the commander's voice dropped to something colder. Claw must be reminded of her place. The storm came in fast, not rain, not thunder, but a system-wide blackout. Adam sat up in bed, alert. Outside his window, the towering alien skyline flickered and died. He tapped the edge of the wall console. No power, no signal. Claude's voice came through low and calm. Backup generators are failing. Adam stood, pulling on a shirt, as he moved toward her. Voice, is this common? No, she said, stepping into view, a small lantern in her hand casting flickering shadows across her face. It's deliberate. You think it's about us? Claude didn't blink. I think we are being separated from the rest of the diplomats. The question is why. Adam took the lantern from her hand. He turned, scanning the space. No windows open, no exits besides the front. Claude stepped in close, and no surveillance. That's the real reason for the blackout. He glanced at her. You're saying someone wants us to be alone? I'm saying, she whispered, someone wants to see what we do when no one's watching. Adam met her eyes. Is this when you tell me you're still just a maid? Her lips curled. No. This is when I ask if you want me to lie. Claire moved first. I thought about leaving, she said. Thought about playing the obedient servant. But you. She reached up and traced her fingers down his chest. Feather light, you keep pulling me in. He didn't stop her. His voice came out rough. I should be smarter than this. Then stop. Adam grabbed her waist and pulled her into him, mouth crashing against hers. Clara groaned into the kiss, arms wrapping around his neck, pressing herself fully against his body like she was starving for it. She climbed into his lap without breaking the kiss, her legs wrapping around his hips. As he backed them into the wall, the lantern tumbled to the floor. Darkness. Claw's voice broke through the dark. I've wanted this since the moment you looked at me. You know this could cost us everything, he said. I don't care, she whispered, kissing him again. I'm not some pawn, and you're not just a guest. Her hand slid under his shirt, and then it slowed, not because the desire lessened, but because something shifted. He laid her down on the bed, pulled her close. She hooked a leg around his waist, held him tight. They didn't rush it. He whispered her name, and she shivered. Time vanished, and in the dark, tangled in silk sheets and unspoken rules, they crossed the line together. When it was over, they didn't speak, they just lay, their hearts thudding in sync. This, she murmured, looking down at herself. All this. She touched her stomach, her chest, then glanced at her fingers. Wet, shiny, sticky. Is so sticky. Is that normal for humans? Adam couldn't stop the laugh that escaped his chest. Satisfied? Yeah, he said, brushing hair from her forehead. That means you did everything right. I want it to happen again, she said. Barely audible. Adam smiled. It will. Outside the door, in the shadowed hall, 2 Azerian guards stood still. One touched a calm patch at his collar and whispered, they've crossed the threshold. Then the voice on the other end came through, cold and final, separate them now. The guards slammed the door open. The suite's entrance slammed wide with a hiss and a jolt of forced override. Claw bolted upright, the blanket yanked across her chest. As instinct took over, Adam rolled off the bed in one fluid motion, grabbing his trousers and reaching for the small blade still hidden under his jacket on the chair. 3 Aryan guards stormed in. Adam Rain, the lead one, said, voice devoid of emotion. Step back from her. Adam's body tensed. She's unarmed. She defiled a diplomatic guest. The guard snapped. She did nothing I didn't choose. Adam growled, stepping between them. Touch her, and you'll start a war. That gave them pause. The guards exchanged looks. Clara stood behind Adam, eyes burning, the blanket still clutched tight around her. Her chest heaved with controlled rage. The lead guard adjusted his grip on his baton. You don't understand what she is. Adam didn't blink. You don't understand what I'll do. The tension thickened. 2 of the guards flanked Adam, moving slow, cautious, but ready to strike. He kept his posture tall, blocking Claw's body with his own, the knife in his hand angled low and hidden. She's mine, he said coldly. You want her? You go through me. Behind him, Claw whispered something in her native tongue. The guards froze. The lead guard lowered his baton a fraction. You'd invoke Tekara? He asked, stunned. Adam didn't know what that meant, but the hesitation was enough. Claw moved fast. She twisted her hand, flipping the blanket aside, using the motion to grab the lamp from the floor and hurl it at the closest guard. The crash bought them a second. That's all they needed. Adam grabbed her hand. Go. They ran behind them. Shouts echoed, alarm sensors reactivated, red lights flared to life along the hallway ceilings. They rounded a corner and ducked into a narrow service corridor hidden behind a Decorative wall panel. Claude had memoized from a palace blueprint stored in her implant. What the hell is Texera? Adam panted. Chloris smiled despite the chaos. Bond claimed sacred. Ancient. He blinked. You claimed me as your mate. She shrugged. It was either that or let them drag me naked through the palace halls. Romantic. Shut up and run. They didn't stop until they reached a narrow elevator shaft tucked behind a maintenance wall. Class smashed a sequence into a hidden panel. The wall hissed open, revealing a narrow metal passage. Inside was a man. He looked up and blinked. Cla. Zet. She gasped. We need an extraction. Zet looked from her to Adam, then down at their disheveled clothing. I don't need details. Good. Cla stepped inside, dragging Adam with her. Zet sealed the panel behind them. We've got maybe 5 minutes before they reroute the palace systems and find this corridor. Adam glanced at Claw, and after that she pulled a small communicator from her waistband. We get out, she said, and then we fight. The service tunnel was narrow, barely wide enough for 3 bodies, but Claw didn't slow down. Zet, the scrappy alien tech, jogged ahead, tapping his wrist console like a man betting on borrowed time. You know they are tracking you already, right? He called back over his shoulder. They can try, Claw said without breaking stride. Adam kept close behind, hands still clenched tight around the blade he'd stolen off the palace floor. You sure about this guy? I used to break into palace systems for sport, Zet replied, not bothering to turn around. She used to chase me for it. Adam arched a brow. That's comforting. Claude smirked. He's not loyal, he's in love with problems. I like puzzles, Zet corrected, and this. He gestured vaguely toward Adam. This is a diplomatic disaster wrapped in sex. Sweat. Keep moving, Claw snapped. They reached a steel bulkhead marked with ancient Assyrian glyphs. Claw placed her palm against the center. The metal hummed, scanned her bio-signal, then hissed open beyond the door, an abandoned sublevel of the palace. Empty, dusty, forgotten. Adam stepped in and scanned the room. No cameras, no one's used this section in years, CL said. Too deep, even the patrols avoid it. Zet whistled. You really did your homework, maid? She's not a maid, Adam muttered. Claw gave him a sharp look. You figured that out after or during? Adam didn't answer. Zet cracked a grin. Guess that means during. She ignored both of them and moved to a small access terminal. Half sunken into the wall, fingers flew across the cracked interface. Adam watched her. Zet turned to Adam, voice lower. You know what happens if the council catches you, right? Diplomatic immunity, Zet snorted. Not when you violate one of theirs. Adam's jaw flexed. Claude glanced over her shoulder. I wasn't violated. You weren't supposed to touch him, Zet said, or let him touch you. Claw stopped typing. She turned to them, voice ice. Then maybe they shouldn't have locked me in a room with a man built like sin and dressed like tension. Zet blinked. Fair. Adam stepped beside her. Can we finish this before we get caught again? They've activated the outer scan fields, he said, scrolling through his display, but their focus is still in the upper palace. We've got a hole. How long? Clara asked. 7 minutes. 10 if they are slow. Claw reached beneath the terminal and pried open a floor panel beneath it, a dark vertical shaft barely wide enough for one body. Zet squinted down into it, still using the old waste chute escape plan. Hey, you got a better one? He shook his head. I'll go first. You drop him after me, then you come. I'm not dropping anyone, Claw said. Adam smirked. I'm right here. She looked at him. Then don't slow us down. Zet climbed in and disappeared into the dark. Adam followed, sliding into the shaft feet first. Nice landing, Earth boy. Bite me above them. Claw slid in without a sound and dropped down like a predator. She landed perfectly, knees bent, one hand on the wall to balance. Adam's chest tightened again at the sight of her, not because she looked dangerous, because she was. Zet pointed to a cracked grating in the wall that leads to the southern corridor. From there it's a straight shot to the perimeter docks. Perimeters locked, Adam said. Claw's smile was razor sharp. Not if we use the security override hidden in the ceremonial chamber. Zet's face dropped. You're kidding? Adam frowned. What's in the ceremonial chamber? Guards, Zet said. Lots of them, and ghosts. Claude tapped her chest. I'm not afraid of either. Adam looked between them. You two going to flirt or fight your way through this? Both, she said. They crawled through the grate and emerged into a narrow hallway. lined with ancient banners and weapons sealed in cases. The ceremonial chamber was just beyond one wrong move and they were done. Claire turned to Adam. We go in quiet once I trigger the override. The far corridor will unlock. That's your exit, and you. She didn't answer. Zet shifted uncomfortably. You're not planning to stay, are you? She ignored him and pulled a stun disc from her hip. Adam caught her arm. No, whatever you're thinking. No, let me finish this, she said. Steady, we finish it together. She stared at him. You'll just slow me down, then drag me. Zet rolled his eyes. Could you two make out after we survive? Claude's gaze stayed locked on Adam. You're not mine, she whispered. You claimed me. Follow me. She stepped into the chamber, and the world exploded. Guards turned weapons. Raised. Claw moved like smoke, a blur of speed and precision. The first two guards fell before they could react. Adam covered her, dropping another, with a stolen baton, spinning it clean across his jaws. Zet dove to the side and hacked into the wall panel, fingers flying. 3 seconds. 2 Claude vaulted a column and landed hard, on one knee, tossing her stun disc across the chamber. It cracked against the last guard's helmet, just as the corridor door slid open. Zet yelled, go. They ran through the corridor, through the tunnel, through the last steel door that led to the loading docks, where 2 transport bikes waited like salvation. Adam grabbed the nearest one, swung a leg over, and held out a hand to Claw. Let's go. Then looked at him and took his hand. She climbed on behind him, arms tight around his waist, her mouth at his ear. If we die, she whispered, I want it to be on fire. Adam twisted the throttle. The engine roared to life, and they shot into the night. The hover bike screamed across the Azerian night. Wind ripped through Adam's hair. His hands white-knuckled on the controls. The bike's thrusters pulsed with blue fire, each turn sharper than the last. Alien towers blurred past, gleaming spires of green stone and steel, monuments to a civilization that had gone too long without a real threat. Clara gripped him from behind, her body pressed tight against his chin, on his shoulder. Her legs straddled the bike like she'd been born on it, her breath steady despite the speed. 2 on our tail, she said in his ear. Black armor patrol class. Adam didn't look back. Fast, not faster than me. She leaned left and he trusted her, tilted the bike with her weight, cutting hard between 2 vertical signs. One skimmed. Their shoulder sparks flew behind them. The patrols adjusted course. They glowed against the night, hunting silently, gaining by the second. Zet's voice came through on the stolen comm, static filled but clear. I bought you 90 seconds with a false ID tag. That's all I've got unless you want me to start a riot. Claire grabbed the comm from Adam's belt and barked, do it. You sure? Zet, fine, give me 30 seconds to find a crowd. Adam glanced up the towers ahead, split around a massive central square lit with yellow banners and humming with civilians unaware. H looks like Zet found it, he muttered. Claw smiled. Then we give them a show. They shot into the square like a meteor, blasting past startled vendors and floating stalls. People screamed. Claire tossed a smoke pellet over Adam's shoulder. Without warning, a cloud exploded behind them, thick green, blinding. The first patrol swerved, lost control, crashed through a produce cart. The second cut clean through the smoke, still on them. Claw twisted, balancing with one hand on Adam's waist, the other drawing a curved throwing blade from her thigh holster. You good with flying knives? Adam shouted. Only when I'm angry. She threw it. The blade spun through the air, sliced clean through the stabilizer on the second bike's left wing. The engine coughed. The rider jerked, tried to correct, but the bike spiraled, clipped a tower and exploded into a side wall. Adam turned sharply through a side alley. That was the last one. No, Claire said grimly, that was the warm-up. Overhead the sky lit up. 3 sleek drones dropped into view, triangular wings humming with menace. Red target beams flickered down, scanning for heat signatures. They are locking on, Adam said, adjusting speed. Claw reached forward and toggled a switch on the dashboard. EMP scrambler. Adam nodded. Slen Tech 1 shot, use it. He waited until the drones were close enough to hear, then hit the switch. A pulse of white light burst from the bike. Silent and wide, the drones jittered midair, then fell like dead birds, crashing onto the rooftops behind them. Still think I slow you down? Adam said. Claire smirked. You're slightly useful. They didn't slow. The city was opening ahead of them now. The towers fell away, into the outer districts, wider roads, fewer eyes, fewer laws behind them. The palace burned in soft flickers. They'll lock down the gates soon, Claire said. We won't make it on one bike, then we go underground. She looked at him sharply. You don't know where the tunnels are. I do now. Adam tapped the nav map Zed had dumped into the bike's console. He gave us a route through Sector 12. There's a service ramp near the old gravity canal. CL's eyes widened. That area is maintenance shaft, west corridor, only one entry point. He yanked open the emergency access panel and shoved her inside first. Following right behind the shaft was narrow, dark, the metal walls still trembling with every hit to the hull. Medius jammed the emergency lock shut behind them, sealing off their trail. Stephen leaned against the wall for half a second, catching his breath. We can't outrun them, he said. We either fight or we die. I pick fight, Medius snapped, wiping sweat from her forehead. Stephen gave a tight grin. Good, because dying isn't on my schedule. They moved fast, ducking through another maintenance bay, setting up a fallback point. Stephen grabbed a shock rifle off the weapons rack, jury-rigged alien tech he barely understood, but the grip felt natural enough. Medius armed herself with a plasma blade, the weapon hissing to life in her hand. Stephen was double-checking the auxiliary lockout codes when a loud clatter echoed from the next corridor. He raised the rifle instinctively, but Medius grabbed his wrist, stopping him. No, she whispered, wait. Then a figure stumbled into view, green skin, black jumpsuit, another Drawoon crew member Stephen hadn't seen before, probably in hiding since Medius staged her mutiny. The woman's face was bloody, one eye swelling shut. She stumbled toward them, gasping. Maius, she rasped. He's here. They forced me. Stephen lowered his rifle a fraction. Medius stepped forward, cautious. Kira, Medius said. The woman Kira staggered closer, tears streaming down her face. I tried to stop them, she gasped. I swear I didn't want this. Stephen's gut twisted. Something was wrong. Where's Torvek? She demanded. Kira's face changed. The tears stopped. The pain vanished from her eyes. She smiled and slammed a small cylindrical device onto the wall beside her. An explosion of sound and pressure ripped through the corridor. Not lethal, targeted, a sonic grenade designed to disorient, not kill. Stephen hit the ground hard, ears ringing, visions swimming through the haze. He saw Kira lunge, not at him, at the main console. Her hands flew over the controls, initiating a forced core overload. Stephen's blood turned to ice. She wasn't here to fight them, she was here to kill the ship. No. Media screamed, lunging after her. Stephen shook his head. Clear pushed himself up on burning arms and tackled Kira. Before she could finish the sequence, they hit the ground hard.